topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Hey, I don't know if you remember Johnny Carson. He had so many stars come on his show, but there was one star by the name of Frank Sinatra who when he did his opening monologue, it was always very special. Well, I have one of those very special people today. And I have to tell you, some of you have seen and heard her before in some of our markets, but most of our markets, you've never seen her before. I'm going to tell you something. I had sleep apnea. And it was the worst thing. I snored. I didn't sleep. It was horrible. And even when I got the machine that's supposed to help, it helps. But imagine wearing a machine to sleep in. And I got a call. This is so God sent. I got a call. I found Janet Bennett, who is a speech pathologist, and she discovered a technique for snoring. Now, listen, you're talking to somebody who has tried everything and nothing worked. They're all gimmicks. And I didn't really truly believe her until she put me on her program, which we're going to talk about today. I got to tell you, after 2 weeks, easiest program. After 2 weeks, I no longer snore anymore. I haven't snored in about 4 months. It is the greatest feeling on earth, and we're going to share that with you today. So if you are a snorer, you have a family member that's a snorer, you do not want to miss today's show. Let me welcome my idol, head of her fan club, me, Janet Bennett.
Thank you, Steve.
How about that one?
Yeah, I mean, Johnny Carson.
You are my Johnny Carson. No, you are my Frank Sinatra.
Ooh, okay. Thank you. That's great.
So we have all these new people, Janet. Yep. Some of them are going to be just like I was in the beginning. But tell people about your background, how you figured this out that no one else has been able to figure out, and share it with our audience.
Okay, I will. I am Janet Bennett. I'm a speech pathologist. I've been doing this for way too long to even imagine, more than 30 years. And one day, in the year 2003, I was in my office and I was treating a 14-year-old football player who had a tongue thrust. Now, I don't know how many of you know what a tongue thrust is, but you've seen people who have like buck teeth that stick out or an open bite where their teeth don't close up. These people have a tongue thrust, and that means that when they swallow, their tongue comes out between their teeth or it pushes the back of their teeth. And the tongue is made up of all muscles, and it's a very strong muscle. I think it's one of the first 2 or 3 of the strongest muscles in your body. And so I was treating this 14-year-old football player. I have a 7-lesson program with tongue exercises to do that. He was just learning how to swallow a new way, and he was learning how to keep his tongue on the roof of his mouth. So he had done 2 weeks worth of exercises with me, and he came in for the 3rd lesson, and his mother came in my office and she said, "Janet, what are you doing to Adam?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And she said, "Well, he's always been the loudest snorer in the world. He makes our windows rattle." She said, "And now he's not making a sound." I didn't know what to say. I knew nothing about snoring. Okay. So I turned to Adam and I said, "Adam, tell me more. What's going on?" And he said, "Well, it's true." He said, "I'm able to concentrate more in school. My grades are better." And remember, he's a football player. And he said to me, "And I run faster." Well, that caught my attention more than the snoring, because I know because in my mind, I'm like, what in the world are we doing that makes somebody run faster? Now, this nobody would believe it. So yes, folks, it's going to be a little too, it might be hard to believe some of what I'm going to tell you, but that's okay. That's okay. What happened is I decided I needed to save the world, right? I know how to get people to stop snoring. But did I really know how to do that? Would it work with other people? And so I immediately found 86 people all over the United States who would be my guinea pigs. And I wanted to write the therapy program. I already had one, but I wanted to make it perfect. I wanted the people who were using it to be able to understand it without me explaining it, because, so they could do it online. And so these 86 people worked with me. We didn't have Zoom back then, so we did email and telephone calls. And when all was said and done, it took about 8 months to treat all of these 86 people. And at that time, 94% of those people stopped snoring. 94%.
Amazing.
And now I did not have a control group. You've heard of all the double-blind studies, and you can't, if you don't get something published, then it doesn't mean that it was any good. I mean, it means it probably wasn't any good. But a double-blind study for this, you either snore or you don't. And the people that I worked with had someone who could vouch for them that they did snore and then they didn't snore. And that's what matters. And what happened when I first met them, I got some health information from them, different symptoms. I did not know exactly what info to get, but I thought, well, I'll just learn all I can about them, and we'll compare all these symptoms after the program's over and see what happened. Well, lo and behold, most of their other symptoms disappeared too, or got way better, such as GERD. I know I'm not supposed to say that. That's a medical condition, but when a person doesn't any longer have to eat that entire bottle of chalky pills, whatever Rolaids, that's something, And what caused that? And things like not waking up with a headache. A lot of people wake up with a headache. It goes away pretty quickly, but they wake up with this headache. Let me see some other things. A lot of people have asthma. A lot of people have daytime sleepiness. There's so many different things that people have. They haven't put it all together and said, oh, all of these symptoms that I am facing every day are just due to mouth breathing. And that's what I discovered, because I help the person learn how to breathe through their nose and make it a new habit. And that's when everything started getting better. They no longer woke up with a dry mouth. Their lips were closed.
Yes.
They didn't snore anymore. Their lips were closed. Okay? So that means that they couldn't have had sleep. They couldn't get sleep apnea if their lips were closed. Okay? And I'm
Jan,
not saying.
Excuse me, Jan, do you think the few that it did not work on actually did the program the way it's supposed to be done?
Well, okay, so 94% stop snoring. The other percentage, it's now this has been 2003, right? Now, fast forward to 2024, when this is all I've been working on for all these years.
Right.
Now I know for sure that just me talking to them on the phone and emailing could have missed the fact that somebody was not practicing.
Right.
Because you've got to practice these exercises 2 times a day. Okay.
And they're easy to do.
They are very easy. They don't hurt. Like I said, they're very easy. And 2 times a day, you'll need about 15 minutes each time you practice them. So I'm not asking for a lot of time. I know people in Brazil a few years ago came up with some exercises to do. And I think they had to exercise quite a long time during the day. But, and they only had like a 30-some% success rate. So I know that 94% is excellent. And also, if it prevents you from getting sleep apnea, that's another whole story. And so anyway, so these people are now saved with the exercises. And it's been a real ride educating everybody about this. I want to tell you some things that while you're listening or watching or whatever, as you're sitting there thinking, oh, I snore, my significant other's now sleeping in another bedroom or, whatever. And I think that used to be the number 2 reason for a divorce, snoring. But anyway, so I decided that I needed to get this program online into people's hands so that they could see how easy it is to use. So this is all la naturel. There's just nothing that's going to hurt you. And I've made my program so easy. This is the way it is. You would purchase the program online. It's very affordable. And when you would get it immediately because it is online. And it would look like a table of contents. So you would go to lesson 1 and it would show you the 3 exercises for lesson 1. And you can click on a button that takes you to see me teach an adult male how to do those exercises. So I'm right there. I'm showing someone how to do those 3 exercises on lesson 1. And you can learn that way. And you'll know that you're doing them right if you're, copying me. And then when you stop, after you see that, you've got to start exercising 2 times a day for a week. You work on it for a week. We have so many muscles and we've got to exercise all of the muscles. And so during that week, 2 times a day, you can go back to the same place online and click on a different button and you will see me sitting at my desk. And I'm actually waiting for you to come in and sit with me. I will do the exercises with you. If you have to do them 5 times, I'll count. If you have to do them 5 minutes, I'll time it. You don't have to bring anything to read or anything. You just copy me. So there's not a whole lot of things.
You walking me through it the first time. It really helped.
Yeah. And so it's like I'm there through the whole thing. And I'm also available. You can look scrolling across the screen. I'm available via telephone, email, whatever you need. I will always answer you. It is my passion. I want everyone to be successful. So I just want to quickly share some things with you while you're thinking about yourself, sitting there thinking, oh, I can do this. But do I really have the problems? Okay, so here are some symptoms. Do you wake up with a dry mouth? Do you wake up with a sore throat maybe that goes away in about 30 minutes? Or with a headache that also goes away in about 30 minutes? You probably have daytime sleepiness, and that probably starts at about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And some people have to take a nap. Some aren't quite that sleepy, but it's there just about every day. And some other symptoms are you might wake up in the morning and your sheets are all messy. And I know you're thinking, well, what in the world does messy sheets have to do with this at all? Well, what it means is you are a restless sleeper. And that tells me that you are probably breathing through your mouth. Okay? So if it is due to that and you stop mouth breathing and your sheets are neat one morning, then you'll know you are doing the exercises, you are being successful. You can feel all the changes. Each day you can feel a little bit of change over all these different symptoms. Let me see some more. Acid reflux can be a problem. Phlegm can be a problem. A lot of people talk about phlegm in their throat and the fact that it feels like something's stuck in their throat.
Yes.
Now, this has been going on for ages with people, and they go to their ear, nose, and throat doctor or their primary care doctor, and those doctors don't know what it is. They look in there and they don't see anything, and so they really, years ago, they used to recommend that you go see a psychiatrist. Okay. Well, so now I can say you were right all the time. I hope you didn't go see a psychiatrist for that, but you may have, and I'm sorry. But this is one of the first things that goes away whenever a person starts doing my exercises. Why is that? Because the phlegm is 90% water. Okay, so it's not something that that's not able to go away without some magical pill. Okay, so we don't have any pills around here. So anyway, that is one big thing that improves very quickly, and it feels like something gets stuck right here in your throat, and that's because you have a weak swallow. And I'm sure that you never connected swallowing with snoring. Well, swallowing, if you have a weak swallow, then that means that you might, have some problems once it starts going down. And it means that you can cough, you can be a chronic cougher or have chronic throat clearing, or anything like that. But swallowing and sleeping and those things go together. And so whenever we're doing these exercises, all of these things are going to get better, even if you don't mean for them to. Okay, you'll find that lots of things are improving. Some other things, a lot of people have pains in their neck and shoulders. That's actually due to this mouth breathing. You might wake up tired or irritable. Now, children get this too. If you have children in the bed and they're breathing through their mouth, you need to go over and close their lips, and you need to search out this exercise program that will easily help your child learn how to breathe habitually through their nose, and they won't grow up to be an adult snorer. That's huge. Some people have a tongue that is too wide for their mouth. I know that's really wide, but I have invented a tongue stick. This tongue stick is magical.
Amazing.
I can say that because
I didn't tell everybody, but I bit my tongue all the time. And I didn't know until you and I started talking, because you specialize in tongue thrust. I did not know that the tongue can be bigger than your mouth, which made sense why I was always biting my tongue. But I no longer bite my tongue anymore.
And why is that?
Well, I'm doing the exercise. I'm training my tongue.
Yes. So whenever you do these exercises, this tongue stick, you are going to use it to make your tongue skinnier. I know that's weird, but it works.
It really does.
And when it makes your tongue skinnier and your tongue is super fat, you are going to stop biting the sides of your tongue. And that will be proof to you that this stick and your exercising made it happen. All right. Now, when that happens, your tongue will learn to live on the roof of your mouth. These are easy things, easy goals to reach. and it happens very quickly. It's not months here, it's weeks. So it happens very fast. Your tongue lives up there so that whenever you're sleeping, your lips are closed. And when you're awake, your lips are closed. And when, sometimes the saliva builds up in your mouth and you may, for some reason, not think about swallowing it and find yourself with a mouth full of saliva. And sometimes you almost choke because gravity pulls it down over the base of your tongue. Well, when your tongue lives up there, it is in the proper position to handle anything that comes in your mouth. It's already in the proper position to swallow so that your saliva stays cleared, okay? So it's super easy. Let me think of some other things. There are some people, like I said, who have chronic coughing. I work with adults who come to me because, or their doctors send them to me for chronic coughing. And whenever I ask them these questions, it turns out they're a mouth breather. Okay? Mouth breathing is the culprit. So you are going to learn how to breathe through your nose, whether you want to or not. You might have chapped lips. You might also have trouble swallowing a pill. Who has trouble swallowing pills? A lot of people do. And that's because they don't know where to put their tongue to make it an easy thing to do. But you will learn how to do that. It makes it super easy. You also may get up during the night like 5 times to go to the bathroom. And that has to do, I would have to read my notes to get those answers correct for you, but that has to do with mouth breathing and how your body reads the wrong signal, thinking that you have too much water in your body and you have to go to the bathroom. But it's quite interesting to look up all of those things. Did you have any specific questions, Steve?
Well, you've only got a minute left. Let's tell everybody how they can reach you to get your program.
Okay, my phone number is 828-273-9888. I have 2 websites that you can look at, www.correctmytonguethrust.com, correctmytonguethrust.com, or IJustWantToSleep.com. Now, both of them have the same exercises that are used to help, okay? I have a lot of educational videos on them that you might be interested in. So let's see, you can email me at author, AUTHOR, author at IJustWantToSleep.com, and I'll help you.
And the program works. I am the greatest example. Thank you so much. I am so glad that you're part of the show. And if you missed any of it, you can go to iHeart or YouTube under Ask the Experts TV show, Janet Bennett. Janet's going to be back again with us next month with more Ask the Experts. We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to go to our next expert.
And we are back with the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV with your hosts, Steve-O, Sophia, and their expert guests.
And we are back. I hope you enjoyed that segment of our show. She is just amazing. She has helped my life so much. And, if you're a snorer, you definitely want to reach out to her. Her program really works. It worked on me. I've been snoreless for 4 months without my CPAP machine. Our next show is so important. If you're a homeowner or you own a business, if you've ever dealt with these homeowner insurance companies, boy, they don't want to pay. They want to pay the least amount possible. So we found a company that they're called public insurance adjusters. A lot of people do not know what a public insurance adjuster is. If you have any problems in your home and you do not feel like your insurance company is giving you a fair amount of money, you need to get a public insurance adjuster. We were lucky we got the best. They're called property claim consultants. Let me introduce you to our agent, Bo Exton. Hi, Bo.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, buddy. Hey, this is your first show.
This is my first show. Yeah, I think you've had David and Ken on at least once. So this is my first time stepping up here.
Well, I got to tell you, what you do, Bo, for your clients, we used to have so many people say it's not fair what the insurance company is offering us, and I'm basically stuck. But they're not stuck. Not when they have a public insurance adjuster like you. Tell people about the company, first of all.
Yep. So we're called Property Claims Consultant. We're based here in San Diego. We cover all of California, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, and Arizona. So handle a good portion of the western half of the United States. Our role as public adjusters is to come in and represent you as a homeowner or business owner on your claim. Our job is to adjust the claim. The same way you have an adjuster for the insurance company, we come out, we adjust the claim, determine coverage, determine causal loss, value of the claim, and we're adjusting that claim on your behalf. And I think you kind of touched on it briefly. You said the insurance company doesn't always want to pay the most amount for the claim. They're a business, right? Their business is to try to settle the claim for the least amount. Our business is the opposite. Our business is to adjust the claim and help you settle the most amount possible for what's owed, not a penny more, not a penny less.
Now, Bo, a claim could be water damage. It could be smoke, fire damage. What else?
So here in nice sunny San Diego, as you can see, we don't get a ton of weather, but a lot of the country, you'll get wind, hail is a big driver of insurance claims across the country. Texas, we've gotten a lot of freeze claims in the last couple of years with some of the cold fronts that have come in. Water, fire, flood. Obviously, we got hurricanes and things of that nature. The flood section is a totally, it's kind of its own little niche within the claims realm. But that's a very common peril as well. Look at Florida, look at Louisiana, some of those, Gulf Coast states. But here our business is a lot of fires and a lot of floods. It's kind of, what I would say our bread and butter.
What about mold, Bo?
So mold used to be a pretty big driver of insurance claims, and in the last, let's say 5 to 10 years, more insurance companies are putting mold exclusions on claims, on policies. So oftentimes mold is not a covered cause of loss. You may have a small mold limit, on your policy, 5 to 10,000, to where if you have, a covered water loss and there is some microbial growth that occurs, during the early stages of that loss, then you can have some funds that go towards remediating that mold and removing that from the property.
We just got our first text in. What a great idea to have a show like this on. Do you cover break-ins? I guess
we've done. Go ahead. Sorry, say the last part again.
They want to know if someone breaks into your house and does damage.
Yeah, so we've worked vandalism and theft. Both of those perils, you may have a break-in and there's gonna be theft involved. You may have where they not necessarily forced entry, but they're just, it's theft. So kind of two different perils there. But I actually have a pretty large claim now. It's a kind of unique one where they had a home break-in and they had a lot of items stolen, and then the people that broke in actually set the house on fire. So,
my gosh,
unique and unfortunate circumstances. But yeah, we've definitely assisted homeowners with break-in, and so you're looking at physical damages to the structure. Did they force entry? Did they break a window? Did they break a door? And then also the lost items, or I guess stolen items. helping recoup the value of those, which can present its own set of challenges. It's one thing if something is damaged and it's still within the home. If something is stolen, proving ownership and proving value and quality of that item can be challenging at times. So
we're here with public insurance adjuster Bo Exton. He's with Property Claims Consultant. Bo, what about businesses? Because I know sometimes a business will have a flood and it goes next door.
Yep. Yeah. So we've worked a couple different commercial, let's say more than a couple, but a handful of different commercial policies, different perils, fires and floods, where the fire or flood may start in one unit and makes its way next door to the neighboring business. And commercial policies are definitely more complex and unique than your standard homeowners. And so there's a lot of nuance to it and the way that coverage is applied. Looking at loss of business income, structural damages, are you the owner of that building or are you a tenant? And who's responsible for those damages? Is the tenant improvements? If you own a retail store and you did a build out of a wall to display your shoes or hats, whatever you're selling, some of those tenant improvements are going to fall on your policy as the business owner. But then some of the structural damages, drywall, insulation, things like that may fall on the building owner's policy. So helping business owners work through those issues and ultimately, recover for any loss of their business income, loss of any of their products or inventory, and just, getting their property back in a working order so they can resume business operations.
Bo, does it surprise you how many people don't really know their insurance policy?
Surprising, I would say no. So a little bit about my background is I have a bachelor's in risk management and insurance, which is a pretty unique field. So I spent a lot of college reading insurance policies, which certainly wasn't the most exciting 4 years, but very, very informative. And I would say most people don't even have a full copy of their policy. A lot of times when we ask respective clients, hey, can we get a copy of your policy? You get that first page, what's called the declarations page. And that's going to have, named insured, property address, type of policy it is, a list of the coverages and the amounts, but it's not going to give you the full policy jacket or packet. It's just going to give you all the, the language of what is and isn't included, because, most people don't ask for the information, or then they're just never provided it. Your agent's going to tell you, oh yeah, here's a quick rundown of what's covered and what isn't covered. But then when you get into the the details and the nuance of it, it's like, whoa, I thought this particular item was covered, but I see on this page that it's actually excluded. So, and then with that, the policies are supposed to be written for a 5th grade reading level, but the way they present them is also a whole nother challenge. You go to the perils insured against section, it'll say section 1, perils insured against, and then it sometimes will list all the things that they don't insure. So it's kind of backwards in that nature. And so, just reading through the policy and understanding it can be, a tricky process on its own. But I recommend everybody, get a full copy of your policy, not just the declarations page, but a full copy of the policy, read through it, try to understand it. And if you've got questions, we can always reach out to us, reach out to a public adjuster in your area, and see, hey, could you help me explain if, this were to happen, is this something that's covered? Or contact your agent. They should be knowledgeable and be able to give you that information as well.
Well, I know you guys get a lot of fires there. And from everything I read in the paper, Bo, a lot of squatters. And you can imagine once you get them out of the house, what that place is going to look like. But let me ask you, when is the best time to contact your company to bring you in?
Yeah, so I always recommend people, the sooner you can call us, the better. Not every claim requires a public adjuster, which there's certainly PAs out there that would probably argue with that statement. But I firmly believe that, there are certain circumstances where our services may not be needed. But the sooner you can reach out to us, the earlier on in the process you can reach out to a public adjuster and inform them about what's going on, then they can help you make the most informed decision about moving forward. Whether their involvement, is necessary, is that, here's the potential issues we see and here's how we could help you. Or, you know what, it sounds like things are moving in the right direction. I think you could proceed without our services, but keep us in the loop. Let us know what's going on. And if something comes up, reach back out to us. I have a client right now. He reached out to me in October, told me what was going on. He seemed really on top of it. He said, hey, here's the steps I've taken. I said, hey, you're on the right path. You're doing all the right things. Let me know if something changes. He got to this stalemate with his insurance company where they were being non-responsive and just not addressing the concerns he's bringing to him. So now we got involved. We kind of took over, and implied authority that comes with hiring a licensed public adjuster has sort of helped push the claim in the right direction.
Bo, I've told David the story before. I had a flood in my house, and the insurance company gave me a bid that sounded low to me. But again, I'm just a layman. How would I know? But it turned out all they wanted to do was replace some of the tile on the floor. And it turned out the tile that I had no longer was being sold anymore. When I brought a public adjuster in, they made them retile my entire kitchen. So what they offered and what I ended up getting was, because of a public adjuster, I got so much more money.
And I think that speaks to just the value of where a public adjuster's involvement can really help make sure your claims being settled in the proper manner. Different states are going to have different regulations and statutes that you have to follow, and a public adjuster is going to be knowledgeable in what all those statutes and regulations are, so that when your claim's being adjusted, we kind of take in, I say we take in three big things. We take in the policy and things into consideration. The policy, what does the policy state? What are the state regulations, and what are the construction best practices? If the policy says this is a covered loss, great. We're all on the same page. We can move forward. Now, if there's a state regulation that states you have to match or create uniform appearance, then let's look at what's damaged, what's needed to create the uniform appearance. And then lastly, if I'm a contractor or you're a contractor coming in, or you have a contractor coming in to do the work, what are they going to need to get that job done? And, making sure the settlement from the insurance company includes, all those things and touches on all three of those items. And that's how you're going to have, the most honest and fair settlement for your claim.
Bo, how do you all get paid?
We work on a contingency fee. So we work on a percentage of the claim that is, directly related to what we're able to settle and negotiate for you on your claim. Different states have different regulations on, what those fees can be, depending on the type of claim or just across the board. So recommend, looking up your Department of Insurance in your state, finding out what those fees, may be capped at, and kind of what the local percentages are that a lot of the public adjusters are taking on various types of claims.
How come termites usually aren't covered?
So most policies will exclude any type of long-term damage, and also rodents and pests. And I think when you look at what is covered under a policy, right, the perils are all a single event. It's one instance that's causing this loss. If your roof leaks once, that's covered. If your roof has leaked over a few years and you're starting to see mold and rot and things like that, that's not going to be covered. And when you look at termites, right, their presence really isn't known until they've been there for quite some time. So that's going to be more of a longer ongoing maintenance issue, which is, specifically excluded. So, maintenance as well as an excluded cause of loss. Otherwise, every time someone's going to Home Depot to make a repair to their house, they could file a claim and get that stuff reimbursed. And the insurance market would be even crazier than it already is today in a lot of states.
We're running your phone number now under the screen for our viewers, for our listeners. Give everybody your phone number.
Yep, we can be reached at 858-210-5880. That's going to be my direct cell. And let me pull up our company's phone number for you. I don't got this one off the top of my head.
It's okay.
Our direct number.
Go ahead.
So you can also reach us at 858-544-5350.
Bo, tell people, and just be as honest and however long you want to do it. Tell somebody who's listening right now why they should hire your company.
I would say I would hire our company because we come from the insurance backgrounds. Myself, like I said, got a bachelor's in risk management insurance, worked at an insurance company, worked claims for an insurance company. I know how that process goes on that side. And same with our owner, David. He's a former staff adjuster as well, and a manager at a big insurance company. And then other guys within our organization have also worked in other capacities within this industry. So we know sort of that side of things, and we really pride ourselves on being ethical and being honest and coming in to make the process better for everybody. Certainly we're going to have differences of opinion with your insurance company, and that's okay. But we always respect that adjuster, and we understand the position they've been, they're in, because we've been in that position, and we pride ourselves on, making their job easier. Because at the end of the day, if we can help them document their file and justify what we're asking for, then that's going to really lead to the result that we're looking for us and our client.
God, well said. I told you I had a public adjuster. I did not hire one at first. I got to tell you, you guys are worth your weight in gold, because I think one of the things is when the insurance company knows that a public adjuster company like yours is there in the beginning, I think they are going to be a little bit more honest with you than they would if you were doing it themselves. And I just got to tell you, the best way, the way that that you're not going to leave any money on the table, is hiring a company like Property Claims Consultant. And I really, really mean that, because, I knew nothing about plumbing, about leaks, about tiles. And it was not the time to get a course on that. It was. And when I hired a public adjuster, and I got to tell you, it made such a difference, Bo.
Definitely. And I think I touched on it before, but when you hire a public adjuster, it comes with this sort of implied level of authority, right? Because we're licensed by the states that we're working in. We've passed a test. We've proven that we have at least a base knowledge of the industry and of the process. And then part of our license too is that we all do continuing education. So we're constantly having to, keep that knowledge fresh and that knowledge base, renewed. And so when an insurance company gets a letter of representation that, hey, we're now representing this homeowner or this business owner, they're immediately, their response may not be positive. They may not be exactly happy that a public adjuster is involved, because they now know somebody who knows the policy as good or better than them is now looking at this claim and kind of, holding them accountable for what needs to be done. So that's obviously a huge added benefit for a homeowner. And then second too, a lot of people are busy, kids work, they've got their own lives going on. And while you do your thing and do your job, our job is to come in and make sure your claim's taken care of. So, just taking that weight off of your shoulders, and the communication and the inspections with all the insurance company or their representatives, is handled. And, that can be a breath of fresh air for homeowners too, who may just be exhausted with the process.
Something else I learned was you got to be patient. As soon as you hear something, you're going to relay it to your client. Because
Yeah.
I know first I was going, did you hear anything? Did you hear anything? And you just got to be patient, don't you, Bo?
Definitely. And that's one of the toughest things for us on our end is, a lot of people ask, oh, how long is this going to take? And I say, I can only be responsible for our actions and making sure that, we're staying diligent and on top of your file. But ultimately, if you called me and hired me because the insurance company is not being responsive to you, there's a pretty good chance they're going to continue on that path, even with our involvement. So, make sure you're doing your research about who the public adjuster you're hiring is. Look at their reviews online, ask them for recommendations. And, I think you'll find that, we are staying on top of the claim. And while there may be, a few days or a week go by, we haven't heard from us, we're keeping track of the regulatory requirements for response times and, and when these insurance companies are supposed to get back to us with an answer.
You haven't forgotten them.
We haven't forgotten you. I promise you that. So,
Yeah.
we're on your side all the way through.
Talking to David, customer service is so important to your company also.
Definitely. I think the process is already stressful and the circumstances of our involvement is already a stressful situation for that homeowner or business owner. And, we want to make sure that when we're getting involved, they're feeling the love from us and they're feeling the attentiveness and the care that they may have been missing from their insurance company.
Well, you can sure tell you care about your clients. Let's give everybody the phone number one more time.
Yep. We can be reached at 858-210-5880. You can also find us online at propertyclaimsconsultant.com. Claims is plural, consultant singular. And you can find us on Instagram as well, Property Claims Consultant. Check us out there, Yelp, Google. You can find us. So got this number down at the bottom again. That's 858-210-5880.
And, write this number down because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I would hate for you to go, oh, I just watched the show on public insurance adjusters. I didn't write the number down. Okay. 858-210-5880. Bo, you did a great job. Can't wait to have you back again. You guys will be with us again next month on more Ask the Experts. Thanks so much, bro.
Thanks, Steve. Have a great day.
You too, bud. Great company. All of our companies on here are wonderful companies. And, that's what's so important. You don't have to go look up some website to find a company. We bring them all here to you. Well, that's it for us today. We'll be back next week with more Ask the Experts. Have a good week, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.